Welcome to the Hollow Points Podcast. We are glad you decided to tune into another episode where we provide an aggressively therapeutic outlet on topics that many think about but are afraid to speak on. We actually made it to season 4. This should be our best work yet, since we are finally off probation.
So some conversation has been had. You and I did an episode on 50-50 relationships. And it was based off of a situation that we encountered where there was a woman who was a pastor of a church. And she came out and said, any man that wants 50-50 ain't a man. And some other incendiary type of words came out of her mouth. I'm gonna find out which episode that was just so we could reference it for the people. But it was good. It was a good situation. We gave our perspective. We gave our points on why we felt like she was out of pocket and things of that nature. And then we've also done some episodes on equally yoked, right? The reason why this becomes an important situation is because I need to ask you, are we beating a dead horse? Should we had a episode, I think it was season 3, where I was trying to convince you of why white supremacy made sense. And I was trying to tell you that we're fighting a battle that's unwinnable as it relates to being in America and there being supremacists and us thinking that we're going to be seen as equals or put on equal playing fields. I am at the point now as a man that I believe that we may be wrong as it relates to our role in relationships with women, and that we may just have to eat this situation where we are going to be taken advantage of and put in the situation where it's not going to be fair and equal. It's not going to be 50-50. It's not going to be where we get, considerations or thoughts. We just have to take it and bear with it, because it was season 4, episode 6, where we talked about that level of equality in relationships. And I'm going to give you a scenario and then I'm going to let you cook. A woman asks you for something. You're dating a woman and she asks you for something. And it could be small, big, or whatever the case may be. Let's just put something on it. Let's say she asks you for a handbag. Okay. And you know the type of handbags that she likes because y'all been fooling around for a while, or y'all been engaged for a while, talking to each other. And you say, okay, cool. At that point in time, you introduce what she would consider too much counting. And that is, she wants a $600 handbag. And she feels comfortable enough to express herself, which she should, and ask you for the handbag for her birthday. It's a milestone birthday, and whoop do this, that, and the third. Okay. And you like, cool, y'all just go together now, okay? Y'all just talking. Okay. And you like, cool. And it's you got a good job. You can afford this handbag. The problem comes into this play. You start thinking to yourself, good, bad, or indifferent, has she ever given me anything, a wallet, whatever, that would be financially equatable to the $600 I'm about to invest in this handbag? And so with that, you communicate that and say, hey, you want this $600 handbag, and I understand, but you realize you've never given me anything over $120. You never paid for a meal that was at the 5-star spot. None of that kind of stuff. Do you think that that's something that we should be doing at this point in time? Is me making grand gestures and that you can't reciprocate? I know you can't reciprocate. Her response then, and I'll finish here. Well, I got these 2 kids and I don't make as much as you. And she gives you every reason why y'all not equally yoked and you shouldn't even be with her in the first place. Is that how I should be looking at this? Because she can tell you all the reasons why she can't do what you can do in this relationship, but she wants to be a partner in this relationship. Take me there.
Man, you said a lot, so I have a lot to say.
Okay.
So please interrupt me as you want to interject thoughts.
Understood.
I have a lot to say on this. Okay, so you said we talked about the 50-50 relationship, not a whole man if you have to go 50-50. Can we start saying, okay, you're not a whole woman if you're trying to hyphenate your name? Can we start saying in the situation where you just said she can't give the effort because she has kids and she has this? Okay, so you're a third of a woman then, because you have to take care of the job, the kids, and all that. So you're not even a whole woman. Who gives a damn if I'm a whole man? You ain't even a third of a woman, right?
But wait a second. You're facilitating her standards And she has no choice but to believe she's facilitating your standards at this point in time because you accepted her knowing she was a package deal, knowing that all of this. Now, you might not know her credit score and you
Mhm.
might not know all these liens and loans she got going on, but you knew she had these churn. You knew she had a contentious relationship with minimal child support because she's openly complained about these things, yet she wants the benefits of your stability or your access to whatever finances you have.
Yeah,
Why is she okay? It's such a common story. I need to
because her
understand,
hands are
should
like
we just
cups.
accept this?
No. We should diagnose a case of the want too muches when we see it.
Cool.
You cannot want you cannot want a man to do everything for you and your kids when you're not doing everything for him and his kids. I don't care if you have the financial backing.
Mhm.
You gotta if you're not braiding his daughter's hair, then why do you want him to take your son to get a haircut? That's an exchange. And if I know you said we're dating, so I don't know
Mhm.
at what point we are in the dating. But if gifts is your love language, you have to be feeding my love language too when it gets to that. But hold on. Have I told you I loved you?
Mm.
Then why the hell am I doing a love language and I don't even love you yet? We need to know each other's get to know language. My get to know language ain't no goddamn handbag. My get to know language ain't Ruth Chris. My get to know is walks in the park or simple dates and where we can talk and play games. My love language may be Ruth Chris. My
Right.
love language may be handbags, but I don't love you.
Let
You
me ask
want
you
to
this
love.
though. Why is it weird or why does it come off as socially weird for a man, a
Mhm.
manly man, a real man, all these other,
Uh-huh.
things, to be in a relationship with a woman that can outpace him financially and all the things that said about him being a gigolo or being less of a man because why Stedman gets such a bad rap, right? You get the Stedmans of the world, they get this
Uh-huh.
bad rap. And it seems as if he's just with her because here's the situation. When you get a woman that's outpacing the man financially, he's just with her for her money or for the comforts that she can provide financially,
Mhm.
regardless of how great she feels around him emotionally or what she's choosing to do with him emotionally. When you get a woman that with a man that's providing, that's what men are supposed to do. Men are supposed, but remember, provision is not financial provision. That's not what's biblical. That's not what's legal. None of this provision is an all-round perspective. So you're providing emotionally, from a security perspective, from a financial perspective, from a spiritual perspective, from an active listening perspective. You're providing all these things. Unfortunately, when you have a relationship where you're willing to openly ask for more than what you could provide, you're a bad person in a bad situation. And
Bad
when it
teamwork.
goes bad, ultimately, you
Mhm.
feel like a victim because
Mhm.
he got you used to being able to ask for stuff.
Mhm.
And now that you aren't with him anymore, the life in which you were able to afford and the things you were able to ask for that you didn't contribute to, you feel like you was giving him what he wanted and he was paying you off. If you want to be transactional like that in a relationship, call it what it is.
Mm.
Call it that you hoeing a lot, and
Yeah.
then we can be cool and move on. But the concept of these women that date these athletes have to keep dating other athletes because that's what they've become used to. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? How could you have the unmitigated gall to ask me for something you know you couldn't produce? You asked me for a ring that's $13,000 and you know you couldn't buy me a $3,000 ring. Why is that become so? And I'm saying that obviously it's
Mhm.
there. I'm
Mhm.
not making up shit. I'm not
Right.
creating or inventing shit. I'm just saying, I'm telling you, I'm asking you, should we be preaching to dudes to stop complaining about this because this is the way?
No, I don't think so. I think we preach the way we've been preaching to both people. So hopefully they're realizing and it's clicking that these type of dudes who provide these things, they are the ones who will, according to you, cheat on you. So you want a cheater because you cheated first. You cheated him of the effort and all the other things that come with the relationship. He's paying and you're receiving. You've cheated him. He is going to cheat on you. So if you want a cheater, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Just let them know. So when they find out or wonder why I was the perfect woman, I don't know why he cheated on me, they can go back to whatever season they want to and figure out why he cheated on me. And as for men, if you want a real woman, we should I think we have tried to instruct the men to get to know the woman, get to
Mhm.
know who she is on the inside and what she likes, what she doesn't like. I think we've tried to do that. But if you don't want to emotionally connect with her, buy her something. It's a prostitute. That's what they do.
I just think that so in reference to what I'm absorbing that you're saying is, and this is not me, this is math. There are more women that are out there looking than men, and women are oversaturating the market because they're willing to date married guys, single guys, and otherwise, right? Bars. But the situation is, if you're with a chick that's not appreciating you or not doing what you feel like is enhancing the relationship between the two of you, my best advice to you is leave her. Don't cheat on her. Don't cheat on her. You don't have to anymore. You don't have to cheat on women because there's another one out there, lonely and desperate and ready to at least be the representative that you need for the time to give you all of the attention and excitement that you need up front at a low cost, low entry price. And then when she gets to the point where she gets too big for her britches and overplays her hand, you can say, hey, you realize you overplayed your hand because I keep a spreadsheet and you think it's about the money, but you corrected me and said, no, it's about the effort. And the things that I have in abundance may not be the same things you have in abundance, but you, damn it, got to have some abundance. Like it can't be I got all this
Right.
opportunity and all these plane tickets and hotel vouchers and all
Mhm,
this in abundance. And
mhm.
you just got receiving as your abundance. Like you can just you can receive abundantly. What are we that is the problem.
No, no, no. I have to stop you there
Okay,
because
give it to me.
I don't condone cheating on anybody, right?
Okay, okay,
Because I think cheating is a form of it's a cowardly act.
okay,
You're scared, right?
okay,
Or it's a selfish act. You're taking more than what you deserve. Somewhere in
okay.
there. It's not a good thing. Let's just say that. So you're instructing the guys to just leave her alone and go somewhere else. He already bought the bag. She's already taken advantage of him. So you're saying go to the next woman, get taken advantage of. Oh, you figure it out, go to the next one. He's trying to recoup. That's why he's cheating. He's still trying to get what he is owed from her while he's meeting a new girl.
Here's the problem though. He's cheating with another woman that has the same playbook. He hasn't the problem is they're all seeming to be alike. You're looking for a needle in a haystack at this point. And so you're only going to end up emotionally distraught by the fact that dang, I done ran into another one.
Mhm.
That that I don't want to believe that so bad.
But you keep getting pieces of hay until you find the needle.
Gotcha.
Then you don't play no more in the hay. When you
Gotcha.
find that needle, that you leave the hay to the rest of the dudes to play in.
Man.
You gotta go sow some stuff.
Man, why is it that women feel
Bar.
empowered to be comfortable asking when women can do math just as well as men can. So what is it that's being taught or promoted or preached that makes them feel like I'm a closed mouths don't get fed, I'm just gonna ask for whatever? Because if that's what we doing, then that's what we doing. I understand if you're in a relationship where you could ask him for anything and are willing to accept his no's,
Mhm.
and then he can ask you for anything and he's willing to accept your no's, cool. Man, no problem there. No
So
problem
so
there.
what's being told to them is like the preacher. If a man likes you, when you see a man and he likes something, he pays money for it. So he likes a Rolex, he buys it. He likes a car, he buys it. So they're equating those two things when you should not be doing that. She's not a material thing. Because when a man
Oh,
likes you, he probably does buy you. But if a man loves you, he takes care of you. Like when we was talking about the dude, I don't know if he wanted her to drive or not, but let's say he didn't want her to drive
right,
because he wanted to drive her everywhere. To
right,
me, that's not love because you want to prepare someone you love for if you're not here or if you can't do it. So you would teach her how to drive out of love so she can survive without you because you know your love is so good, she ain't
right,
gonna want to leave anyway.
right,
You don't wanna handicap her to where she needs you for rent. She needs you to eat meals. She needs you for red bottoms. You wanna show her the game so she can get red bottoms, or we can get red bottoms for you together And I
Right.
also get what I want, but it's not about the money. It's
Right.
about our love, and we have built each other up.
The unfortunately, it reminds me of a situation where somebody can ask you for money,
Mhm,
right? They can come and borrow money from you, and they have the guts and the trust and the vulnerability to come and present a situation where, hey, I need some bread.
mhm.
And then you give them the bread. And you have the conversation with them and say, hey, when you think you'll be able to get it back to me? Next Thursday when I get paid. All of these things happen. Thursday come, Friday come. If you call them on Saturday, they have an attitude. They have an attitude that you didn't chase them down. And in their mind, you didn't chase them down over this funky ass $200. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't funky ass when they asked for it,
Right.
but now it's just funky ass because they're counting your resources.
Mhm.
They're saying, where I am and how I am in my life and my kids, and I got to take care of my mom, and all these depravities that exist for me. This is nothing to me. This is nothing to you to just throw away $200. If it was that simple, you would have asked for it as opposed to ask to being loaned, right? You would have just said, hey,
Right.
hey, you got 200 to blow. Can you give me that? You know what I'm saying? You would have strong armed it.
Mhm.
But instead of strong arming it, you make it seem like it's a transactional thing. And I'm going to give you this much love, this much attention, this much whatever, not realizing there's a threshold or a capacity to how much love you got. Because here's the situation. You get her the handbag for 500, 600, and then she's like, okay, I'm a cook, I'm a clean, I'm going to do all these things to you. And then now she wants the trip to Bora Bora. She only has so much cook in her. She only has so much clean in her. She only has so much things she can do from a physical, flexible perspective. So the level of equality, and because women is coming at me and saying, I think y'all misrepresented how relationships are. No, y'all trying to take advantage of a loophole in the law or
Yeah.
a loophole in the emotions to
Mhm.
say I deserve more than what I'm willing to give. I deserve, just by the virtue of being a woman, I deserve fill in the blank from what I'm actually able to facilitate or offer. And that to me is where we've gone too far because unfortunately we've allowed it for too long. And you're saying, no, we haven't allowed it. We can stop this now if we choose, if we so desire to do so. And I'm saying, I haven't seen the examples, bro. I
It's
haven't
it's
because
going
the
to be
audacity is strong in these women.
it's going to be pain. Pain is gonna be there, whether it's the man or the woman or whatever.
Mhm.
We gotta give them the knowledge to know where the pain came from. It they don't I mean, you gotta look toward the future. Even if a woman like, "Oh, I want an older man." They've gone so far now to put on their dating profiles that they want a generous man. And to me, I would never try to hit somebody up who says they want a generous man. To me, that
Qualified
is a
generosity.
simp.
Qualified
It's
generosity because are you generous with your time? Are like the church say? Is it time, talent, or treasure? Are you generous with your time? You generous with your talent? Or you generous with your treasure? And I have a choice to believe that if you ask those things specifically, because you got to be
Mhm,
specific, closed
mhm,
mouths don't get fed, all these
mhm,
other parables. If
mhm.
you had to choose, they would say all. But then if
Right.
they had to specifically choose, they would say treasure. And let me explain. I'm talking to my sister and we talking about these things, and she says, I want somebody that's stable. And I said, okay. And then she said financially. She qualified it. And I was like, I
Mhm.
had no reason to believe you wasn't talking about financially stable. What man is financially stable but otherwise unstable? You know what I'm saying? That you would date. And the concept is, well, I could work with him if he has some early childhood traumas, as long as his bank account is at a certain level.
Oh,
But if your
could
bank
you?
account
Oh,
is
could
low,
you
but
now?
but if your bank account is low and you're completely stable spiritually and emotionally, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know, I don't know what to do with a good man that treats me good, but he just don't contribute at the level in which I can contribute. Once again, when a woman contributes at a higher financial level than a man, they seem to be confused and trying to get you to catch up to them. But let you or I talk to a woman and we say, hey, you ever thought about going back to school and upping this? Like, we're asking for too much. We're
Mhm.
asking for too much trying to enhance her situation. Whereas a woman is supposed to nurture a man to be better or be mentored or what do they call it? level up. A woman is supposed to be encouraging a man to level up. Do you know how disrespectful it is for you to get involved with a woman and ask her to level up? Have you ever thought about it? Let me ask you that.
How disrespectful it is?
Yes.
No, I didn't think it was disrespectful. If so, going back to generosity though,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
want a woman who's generous with anything. Why
Explain
would I
that.
want her why would I want her to be just generous with her body, her money, her time, her no. That to me, that's giving it away to just anybody. Now,
Oh,
giving it
charitable.
to who
Okay.
you care about is
Okay.
something different. I
Okay.
think you and I both are probably generous with people we care about.
Right.
So, and when we care about people, we'll be generous and we want them to level up. So I would never see that as being disrespectful by asking you to get off the couch and do something.
Have you ever been stunned by a request that a woman made of you?
Yeah.
Can you share that with us, or is that too? Is it too to the point where you're gonna out somebody? Or
I don't care about outing people. Um, it, it was a woman who she asked me to pay her rent. Uh, it's a woman who asked me for her birthday, she wanted her car note paid. I never even asked how much the car note was.
okay,
A young lady asked me to help her start a business. Um,
okay. I see a pattern. I see a pattern. All right, but I remember seeing something at one point in time. It was on the interweb where the guy took a woman out. He was talking to her. He took her out. When she showed up, for her birthday. And
mhm,
when she showed up with her friends and wanted him to sponsor or pay for all the friends to get into the spot or
mm,
all the friends' meals or something like that.
yeah,
Um, I think that once again, this is happening so repetitively and it happens so much where it seems like nothing to ask for these trinkets or these vacations or these trips or these, elaborate things. And I can honestly say that there is no benefit for a man to invest in a grand gesture. It's no benefit. If you're doing things as a grand gesture to prove or support your love for her, it's a bad financial investment. It's a bad emotional investment because she can only reciprocate what she has. And if she has it, think about it like this. I'm with a woman and I buy her a uh a Benz, a new Mercedes Benz.
yeah,
It's pink because she likes pink a lot, and it's
mhm,
got the Lamborghini doors on it, or the
yeah,
butterfly doors on it, or whatever. And she loves it. That is not a grand gesture if she can then buy me a Bentley. That's just us in our lane giving each other gifts. No more than if I got her a $600 watch and she got me a $700 watch. Those aren't grand gestures at that point. This is what we do at our tax bracket to
mhm,
exchange gifts
yeah,
with each other. You know what I'm saying? She
yeah,
books a trip, I book a trip. These aren't grand gestures. Where it becomes a grand gesture, because everybody's saying, wait a second, you acting cheap and you don't want to do nothing for the host. No, it's that if I do something for you, like my brother-in-law said, and I've said this in previous shows, I'm never going to buy a chick a handbag that she couldn't buy herself or wouldn't buy for herself. That doesn't make sense. Dudes think that these grand gestures, I'm going to pay for you and your girlfriends to go on a girl's trip. The ass doesn't get better naturally. It doesn't moisten. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't marinate and become more tender because of that gesture. You just
that
lost
may
out.
be the outside generosity I'm talking about. Why are you being generous to these stray hoes?
Man, but because they're being programmed to believe that that's a flex that can then resonate outside of the relationship. If you're just doing stuff within the relationship, there is no such thing as a grand gesture. It's because you know that I'm making this investment and putting this thing together and putting you in this position because we in the relationship are going to benefit from us doing these things collectively, not because I'm showing out so you can go show somebody else. That's that's the worst thing, and you won't enhance your return on investment when you do that. I'm not talking about financial, I'm talking about emotional. She can only do what she can do. If you buy her a car, here's the situation. You have a 2-year-old and you throw a party with an elephant and a circus and you spend $16,000 on a 2-year-old's party. What are you
Mhm.
doing when they turn 3? What are you doing when they turn 9? What are you doing when they turn 16? Like, some of these things, we're just stupid and thinking that it makes sense when it doesn't. It doesn't equate to a greater happiness quotient. Forget about the money. I know y'all like this motherfucker cheap, and he just, no. Happiness quotient. You're doing things to make you happy. You're doing things to make her happy. She can only be so happy, and you can only be so happy and fulfilled. You're putting her in an awkward situation when you outpace the market of what she can reciprocate from her side of the coin. Yes, you can afford to rent out the whatever or buy out the whatever and this and that. That's cool. But now you flexed on her to where she can't keep y'all equal in this relationship because she can't flex back. That's inconsiderate for you to put her in a to put
She
yourself in a
can
dominant
flex though.
situation where you
She
know
can
she
flex.
can't balance the scales. And
She can
any
balance the
relationship with
scale.
unbalanced scales is
Mhm.
set to sink. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. On one side of this, it sinks
It
on the boat.
sinks. It's just
And one
you,
side is too high. But I think if I buy you, whatever, what were we talking about? A bag or something?
yeah, handbag. This fancy handbag, and that's not the fanciest of the handbags. I mean, they make some of this shit 25,000, but I'm just talking moderate
Yeah.
$700, something that would be half of a
Okay.
good rent.
Okay. So let's say you decide to clean my entire house
Mhm,
and just got me a bottle of nice cologne.
mhm.
I think that's like you can. You can it counts to me.
Because you're balancing out the effort. I get where you're going. You're taking the math away from it, and you're saying my effort to do this is it. But honestly, depending on what you make and how you do, she might be outworking you in that situation because 700 might be something you could walk away from and be like, man, you know what I'm saying? I charge that to the game. But her day that she spent cleaning the house and her whatever, the problem is the equation in her head is that she's going to always come and say, I cleaned your whole house one time. You're never going to say, I bought you a handbag one time. But I guarantee you, if she put work and toil into something, it's coming up whenever it can as a level of look at what I did. Look at what I done for you lately. Look at me, giving to you in such a way. Even if your house ain't dirty, it ain't like you keep a dirty house. You know what I'm saying? Like she
Right.
had to come in with a hazmat suit on and all of that. Come on, bruh. So yeah, I get what you think you're saying, but no, this is not the same. I don't know if you can afford 700. I don't know if you could walk away from 700 like that. I know Shannon Sharp was saying he take bags back when he finished with the women. I'm not about the repo stuff, but at the same point in time, when you in a situation where you outpacing her financially and you are lording it over her by putting her in situations where she could never put you in a similar or even close to situation, that's not cool. I think if you're going to do it anyway and she happens to be there, you know, and it's bonus, that's what's up. But when you start seeking the opportunity to rub her nose in how much better you do than she, I believe that's a recipe for disaster. And women are accepting it because they see it as a flex. But what you're telling, if you're a woman, what you telling other women is my stuff is better than your stuff. So I can get more trinkets and stuff and things from my stuff than you can. Right?
Yeah,
Tell me where I'm wrong on that.
no, you right on the financial part, but
Mhm,
like you stated earlier, if you make more than her, she's never going to catch up with you financially. So she has to make up for it. If I'm a basketball player, I
mhm,
got to put in these hours in the gym. I got
mhm,
to travel. I got to do all this stuff. So you have something valuable, which is
mhm.
time.
Right.
So if you see when I get home, I'm stressed because when I get home, now I have to cut the yard. Now I have to wash clothes. Now I have to, and you have that done for me. You've
Mhm.
given me something valuable, which is time. So we
Absolutely.
can spend time together. So I think you can match it
But
because
see, women are thinking I should take YouTube chefing classes. So therefore I can make he don't need to buy a chef. He don't
you
need to
saying they,
outsource it.
you
I
saying they
can
don't, but they should.
right.
They should be doing that. If you know that his blood came back with high cholesterol or
Mhm,
he's always eating on the road, you're
mhm,
exactly right. She should be on YouTube or TikTok, shit,
mhm, mhm,
figuring out how to make healthy things. That's what a partner, teammate, a soulmate, a forever person, a
mhm.
wife before the proposal does.
So what do you think in your infinite or limited wisdom, what do you think is allowing for these women to feel obliged or entitled to be able to make requests on their side of it that they could never equate or create balance on the other side? Why do they feel so empowered to do so? And you could be the old man and blame the internet. You can blame
Right.
modern women not raising women right. What is it that makes these women feel like they can have this audacity? Because I'm always fascinated with audacity.
Because they have short-term success doing it. They have success. The we and we've all been to high school, whether it's
Right.
public or private. In high school, honestly, it was probably only 20% of the dudes actually getting the women in the
Right.
school. So let's graduate, let's fast forward 10 years. If you've talked to these type of women, you have all this experience before, you're probably not as eager as you are as that one nerd dude who now he got the job, he graduated college, he has money, so now he can just be the simp, buy him the stuff because he can get the girl now. And it's not necessarily just the simp. Sometimes it is the athlete who's making the money. Like, I don't have time to invest in this chick
Right.
emotionally. Let me give her a few dollars. She gonna be happy.
Right.
So I can call the other chick, give her a few dollars, make her happy. Then I have to fly out and meet a new chick there because them chicks ain't into me emotionally either. Sometimes the dude does need to talk about his childhood trauma. If you have that skill, that's probably the one that he's gonna like most, but you don't want to do that. You wanted the $700 bag.
Right.
And you want to send him to a therapist. When let's rewind time back in the day, now therapists there is popular. It's fashionable to have a therapist. Oh, I talked to my therapist about this. Let's rewind. Let's go to the plantation. Who was
Mhm.
the therapist? It was your spouse. It
Right.
was your partner. You didn't need to go to a therapist because you had a willing partner who was in tune to you because you didn't have money like that.
Right.
To be your therapist, to be your counsel, to be your comedian, to be everything you needed. Y'all were that to each other. You knew how to make the person laugh. You knew what type of music. You knew if when they had a bad day, exactly what to do. Now, if dudes come home in a bad day, they were like, I don't know what to tell you. Have you called your therapist? That's your job. That's your damn job. Now, let's fast forward 6 months later. I'm sleeping with my therapist. I wonder why.
Wow.
I wonder why.
Once again, I think that, the idea of mimicking what we see or the highlights of what we see on the interweb or on television or reality shows is too intoxicating. And so we have to forcibly try to minimize our exposure so we're not getting conditioned or desensitized to that's the way relationships are supposed to work. But it's just I think it just kind of blindsides. It's amazing to me the level of bad loving math. That's episode 12 and 13 that we have this season, where just the math isn't mathing. But I think that what I had to realize from having those conversations with women about equality and equity and being able to have a partner that is on the same level, that is equally yoked, that is somewhat 50-50 or whatever the case be, especially from an effort perspective. And their belief that no, you should do more or you should be able to, because that's the way society has constructed it. And they're okay with that emotionally. These ain't bad women. These are not bad women. These aren't gold diggers. These aren't, what I'm saying, women that's trying to go. They just realize this is a play that's being played and they want some of that action. And what they're missing out on the fact is stop and think about how you can represent this or live with yourself if you was being honest and saying, you're a bad guy when you start doing too much counting and say, wait a second, over the last year, I've taken off work. I've spent this much gas. I've driven us everywhere. I've paid for all the meals. You know what I'm saying? All these things that I've done to make sure that I can be next to you
Yeah.
aren't things that you've done to make sure you can be next to me. And then when you have a woman that does play that role and she's coming over your house and cleaning up and cooking before you get home, she's making sure this, making sure that, whatever. You do have some guys that abuse that and complain about their day and complain about everything that the world has upon them. You do have some bad actors, but what if we could get a woman that's willing to do all those things while you get a man that's willing to match her and meet her there? For whatever reason, those relationships aren't working. And I don't understand why. Why can't you have a good chick that's willing to do for a good dude and nobody's outdoing each other except for in the positive. That just I don't know of that relationship where that exists. Both of them once again, we talk about the Cosby Show. He's a doctor, she's a lawyer. We assume, even to this day, that they made about the same amount of money. I have no idea how much Cliff made, but I know women make less than men. But I have no idea how it. But they set it up to where she didn't want for anything, and nor did he. He could have as many hoagie sandwiches with chips as he wanted, and she could have on. He could have all the sweaters, and she always dressed fly, and her hair was done, and nails was done. And that was one thing that wasn't a problem in the relationship because she felt like if he's not here, I'm good, and he felt the same way financially. So they only needed each other emotionally, which is why it worked out.
I think that is why it worked out. I think that was an example on the surface level of a good relationship, a good exchange. Now if they remix it today, it'll probably be a darker version of the Cosby Show or the Huxtables or whatever you want to call it. And maybe you find out he's putting his female clients to sleep and messing with them in the basement.
Damn.
But on the surface level, it was a good relationship. I'm sorry. My bad, Cliff. My bad, Cliff.
Let's shift this up before we jump out of here. Both Barack and Michelle Obama have Ivy League degrees. If she so desired, she could have had a very successful career doing something with or without him. If he so desired, he could have a successful career doing something without her. But because they both knew that they was both going to be cool individually, they decided to collectively get together and be that power couple. They decided that they could go places where he could walk away from her and she not embarrass him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you have women who want to be with a six-figure dude or with a dude that's corporate and influential and all this and all that, where you better not walk away from her.
But they
if you don't want for her to
understand.
embarrass or take the well. Go ahead.
I didn't watch the show, but a Power Ranger by themselves get their ass kicked. It wasn't until they morphed where they actually power. So like you said, Barack and Michelle, if they don't morph, there is no first black president. If they don't morph.
Right. Absolutely. Do you think that women have the capacity? I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to let you go because I didn't mean to jump this on you. But do you think that women have the capacity to accept an inferior position and to say, yes, I need him more than he needs me?
The capacity, do they have it in them?
Have you ever met her?
Yeah. As far as for me, no. But I've heard rumors of it, so I can't testify to the fullness of it. But the examples like a Michelle or like let's say my aunt, they've taken a lesser role, but it's not easy. It's difficult. It's difficult for them. And it's in the Bible. They are going to desire to rule, but they can't or they shouldn't if they want the bigger happiness. So I think they have the capacity, but it's harder. It's actually harder than them trying to lead. Them trying to follow is harder for them. And once they realize that, and I don't think we should stop, because if it reaches one or the few who decide to actually take a look at themselves, because we're given the knowledge and I'm sure they're getting it from other places too, but collectively, if it clicks and they decide to take the advice, I think they'll be great. Because I mean, they're making egg whites because they don't care about the yolk. They don't care about being equally yoked.
So my final point on this is it's easy for us to talk about a level of equity and equality in a relationship because men make more than women and society has set it up for men, no matter what the color is, to have a better path to financial success. But love and life is not all about the math of money. It's about the math of effort and the math of getting with someone who you can enjoy the times where we didn't have nothing, the times that we do have a little bit, and the times that we have a whole lot of it. Those are like when you talk to old people that's been together, they done been through all of them. I loved her, loved him when we was eating peanut butter and, figuring it out, mayonnaise sandwiches and whatnot. And they transitioned into a situation where this is going to work regardless of what I can get out of him or she can get out of me, because we just keep sewing into each other. These are the best stories. These are the most common successful relationships over time. But unfortunately, I'm learning more, I'm hearing more that people come into situations where they haven't had a good man or a good woman in all these years, and they just need somebody that's willing to not do too much counting and not pay attention to the receipts and not want tit for tat and want me to just do whatever I need to do based on my limitations. But if that be the case, get a dude with limitations. Get a dude that's got the exact same retained earnings that you have and the exact same available hours that you have that work your shift and that have his external things that he has to focus on. So therefore, the little time that y'all have that little time together and y'all create a level of quality off of that little time. But when you have all these excuses as to why you can't do the things that you want or expect for him to do on his end, you're going to drain him. You're going to ruin the reputation of women in total. And then he's going to come and think that everything is more transactional than it should be. And that's not the way that love should be facilitated. And that's my point on that. What's your final point?
I would just say when Tupac most famously said, "Why explain the game? Niggas ain't listening."
Right.
I think we still should explain the game because someone may listen. And the best stories are if you do your research versus looking at highlights, or like you said, the ones where it was a deeper connection. It was more than the money. It was the actually getting to know the person themselves. And in turn, in the long run, it makes you happy. I don't know. I think it's probably a fairy tale that says don't settle for the quick success. But if you want the long success, that's where the work comes in. If you want the quick success, go ahead and get the hush money, as I would say.
This concludes another episode of the Hollow Points Podcast, where we act as your therapeutic outlet on topics many think about but are afraid to speak on.
Oh, you're welcome.